February meeting of the FPC. You can see we've got a new look council, because we're all suffering the exigencies of the moment. So if we do the apologies, I've got an apology from Keith Osborne. He's recuperating after an operation. Ricky Doyle has COVID. Sean Hagen, work commitments, and Charlotte the clerk, she's also got COVID. So do we accept these reasons? Yeah. Right. Right. Number 2. Declaration of interests. Anything for this?
Yeah, I've got one for the planning item number 2. And I'll just to let the public know that I'll be taking the meeting minutes as Charlotte's not here.
Right. So, which one was that?
Is it 2?
2.
Yeah, there's the 13.
That's the same one as we had last
Yeah.
time. Yeah, right, fine. If you make a note of that.
Yeah.
Right, so that's that. Minutes of the previous meeting. To confirm and agree the minutes of the Parish Council meeting held on Thursday the 13th of January, and not what it says on the summons, which we had some niggers in a bit of a twist there. Right, do I have a proposer for that? Right. Christine proposes.
I unfortunately can't come on.
Right. Well, I was here, so I'll second that. Right, so as those agreed. Right, I shall now look round to see who we've got. Obviously Mr. Thompson there. So would you like to give us your report, sir, from the borough?
Yeah, by all means. Obviously everyone's mind at the moment is the cost of living, and as Mayor, this last month we've been going around to different food banks and distribution centres in the borough, and I'm pleased to say that since the first lockdown 2020, this part of the world, the Fleggburgh Award, has collected over 7,200 quid, plus food donations, which we've been giving out every time we visit a food bank. We were down at the Minster Mission last Monday, and they done 81 meals down there for people who are on their own or actually homeless, and that's a different world. That's certainly opened my eyes to what's going on in certain parts of the borough, and I'm pleased that as a borough here, as a ward here, we're playing our part in the fact that we're raising money and doing distribution of food, which is very, very good. Obviously COVID is still an issue. The Omnicom grant, there's another grant come out. The village hall should have received another 2,400 quid, which means the 4 village halls in my patch should have received just shy of 30,000 quid each over the 2-year period, which sounds like money, but it's necessary considering there's been nil income to keep these community places open. On the 9th of December was the last full council, and that's when the borough plan was finally adopted, and that actually sets the framework of where you can and where you can't build. Quite clearly says in there there'll be no further large-scale development in this part of the world, in Philby, Fleggburgh, etc. The Philby neighbourhood plan goes to referendum on the 24th of Feb, but I'll get an update from the acting clerk tonight on where the Fleggburgh one is. But once that's adopted and your borough plan's in place, that sets your stall out now until 2030. So you have got a bit more development to come in Fleggburgh, but after that, that's your lot then in terms of large scale, just infill and conversion from bits and pieces, everything we've been after for a number of years. The Jubilee coming up, is part of my salary, where buying some trees in. Fleggburgh will be given 5 trees to put wherever you wish as a parish council to plant in the parish. To commemorate the Jubilee, that'll be my contribution. Each village will get five trees. And connected with the environment, I think that's next Wednesday, I think that clashes with your village hall meeting, but that's the environment meeting at Yarmouth. When we got the report for all the playground equipment at long last, and where we know where we are with Fleggburgh. Believe it or not, as a ward, Fleggburgh Morpeth as a ward, we're actually quite well off in terms of, when you look at it, you think we're actually quite well off in terms of playground equipment. But we're now in contact with another company, so we've got a second company on the run now for a new piece of play equipment. We'll be looking for putting a grant in through the village hall, through National Lottery Awards for all, and also the Norfolk Community Foundation to come in. So there's grant money available to get some decent play equipment here, hopefully in the next 12 months in here. So that's where we are, and yeah, busy time, a lot happened, so that's the report.
If I could just ask a question, when you say large scale development,
Yeah.
what is the actual figure? What constitutes large?
There'll be no more estates, there'll be no more
Well,
3s, 4s, 5s, there'll be none of that. What you'll get after, obviously, what we've got coming Rotary Road and on Tar Road there, that's in the plan, that's allowed for. Thereafter, there will just be infill, conversions, anything within the boundary. They're already testing it through an application down Fleggburgh, which is outside the boundary. It's quite clear, it's against policy now, and we've been after this for a couple of years now. You can actually confidently go to a planning meeting now and quote policies which are there, which are planning law. And the other advantage we've got is we've got a 5-year plan now in Yarmouth, which means that if you go to appeal, they can't use the excuse that you haven't got enough housing, but we've got a 5-year plan as well. So actually, and at long last, what the parish council, providing parish council in sync, what the parish council should be in sync with what the borough council decides.
right. Right, well, thank you very much.
Sorry, can I just ask Adrian, what was the date of your referendum?
24th of February.
Thanks.
And when a company or when the borough council deal with all of that, you haven't got to worry about
Yeah.
that. We just need to get to that stage,
Yeah.
and then they deal with it. You just come in here and vote yes or no, and you need 50% of the electorate, and then you're up and dry.
Yeah.
Right, now we will close the meeting for...
Oh, sorry, can I just, as a commissioner, we need to go and sit down or?
No.
Just in relation to the planning application relating to the 13 dwellings, I just wanted to make the parish council aware that a woodland TPO is now on the trees that go around the edge of that came in actually to the parish council not that long ago. So I just wanted to make you aware that there's a woodland TPO through there. And on the current plans, it looks like fences and boundaries cut through that. Thank you.
Right.
Mr. Chairman, on those trees, there is a TPO on that you get 6 months to pay against it,
Right.
if you want to.
Right, if you want to. Right. So, now we'll try. The meeting will be adjourned for 10 minutes for questions from the public relating to the agenda of future meetings. Can I just add a proviso here? If the questions are linked questions or very long and complicated, would it be possible for whoever comes up with them to just email the clerk so that we can marry up what you actually say in an email and what we have in the minutes? That way we are just clarifying and just generally verifying, making sure everything fits together, because obviously it is rather unusual circumstances today. Right, so any... Yes sir, hang on, one behind you.
Yes, at the last meeting we discussed the notice boards, the parish council notice boards, and I followed that up by sending an email to Keith, I think it was to Keith, but I noticed it's not on the agenda for this time, so could we add it on for future?
Yes, by all means. I would just respond to that by saying, I think it's like all these things, it seems a quite small thing, what we do with that particular notice board. But in actual fact, you start to look at the overall picture, such as in this digital age, do we need things like that? And I think that needs to have proper time so that we can discuss it, as opposed to just that one individual thing of that notice board. I mean, I was most unhappy standing on the main road, putting the notice up at Billetby, you know, hammering it onto a shed. You know, I thought, well, no one walked past this. So again, it just needs an overview of the whole thing to see, you know, where we want to go with it.
Okay. I've got one more point. What is happening about the Wesleyan Chapel on Rosery Road? It's been like it's getting in a state of disrepair. Is that in private hands or?
I have absolutely no idea. I can't offer any feedback on that at all.
We know exactly who owns it, and he isn't interested in doing anything at the moment, and I know people who have tried to buy it and he wouldn't sell it.
So,
I mean, it must be a listed. I imagine it's a listed building.
No, it isn't.
No.
we'll put that down as going on the agenda
What make you think that's
Yeah.
next
listed?
week,
Yeah.
next month.
Seeing the age and the style of it, really.
There's no listing on.
Okay. That's it, thank you.
Anyone else?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, well,
Yeah.
some of my questions are a waste of time now because they need to go to the clerk and not you. But one of the things is, why should parishioners have to pay for councillors to go for training when they may not be even on the council within 13 months' time?
That is a
If
point.
that was at the end of the term where you've got 4 years, fine. But for 13 months, I mean, you might not be there, might be a totally different council.
Of course.
So why have we got to pay for you to go training?
Yeah,
And I mean, set 3 obviously have been to planning training, but Christ knows what you learn.
Yeah.
I can't answer that, so I'll just leave that, and that will go down, and we can all discuss that.
And also the bygone woods. I mean, are you all financially down or something on that? I mean, how has that got to, how have you got to afford to pay it? You've got to lose half your rent, you've got to be paying out for public liability, somebody clean it up, rhododendrons grow like wildfire, you'll have to keep that cut. And who's got to walk up there? That's got to open it up for assaults and Christ knows what.
That is all.
I mean, I don't care, I worked very hard to get that, to get £2,000 a year. And you got to blow up.
In what way are we going to blow it?
Pardon?
Well, yes, I
Well, you've got to lose
see
half
what
your
you're
rent,
saying.
if somebody takes
In that
half
half
of
of it
mine.
is going to go,
Pardon?
half of the money will go.
Half of what?
Well, you just said that we will lose some of the
You'll
income.
lose half your rent, won't you?
That's right.
So therefore you'll be down half the rent and you've got to be paying out. You've got to be paying out public liability, you've got to pay out someone to clear it, somebody to look after it when that's done. And who's got to walk up there? And you've got probably the odd person go up there in a car park on the side of 1064, let the dog run around it for 10 minutes and come back. I mean, you can walk around the whole place in 10 minutes.
You can't.
Well, I'll walk around it, you can walk around it in less than that actually, but
Well, I couldn't, because
Well,
we
you-
walked all around it.
you don't walk very quick.
Anyway, we have taken that on board, so
And also, I would like to know why the 13 dwellings is coming up again tonight.
well,
That was
if you wait,
concluded last week.
if you wait until we get
Well,
there,
I'm
you
just
might
asking
find
the
out.
questions.
We have noted.
I mean, that was on the minutes, but that was... I'm dumbfounded.
Right.
And have anybody contacted the residents in Broad Road reference the other one? The demolition of the bungalow?
No.
No, you answered the question, you haven't.
Right, we have noted your comments.
Well, that's not the Parish Council's job to deal with fire. It's the Borough Council's job.
Absolutely.
Well, the Borough Council notified them, but I don't think the Parish Council has asked anybody what their views are.
They're well within their rights to give us their
Pardon?
opinion. They can make their opinions clear.
They could do if they were.
So that's
No, that's rubbish. You should have asked them what they...
Well, they have the opportunity to respond. And it's all part and parcel of the planning process.
Is it?
Well, anyway.
In November 2020, previous clerk Jimmy Miller accused me in an email of stealing meeting minutes. Without any direction or any obvious in public direction from council, he wrote to 3 previous clerks in pursuance what I see of his dishonestly egregious campaign against me. It's now clear from correspondence from the local clerk that the minutes were never missing at all. I'd like an apology.
Well,
Will the PC consider an apology for his malicious action?
We have noted your comments and the clerk will look at it and take it from there.
Thank you.
Could you tell us why we got up the meeting at the last item?
Because it pertains to an individual and it is standard practice.
Unless that's an employment issue, we shouldn't have to leave the minute.
Well, I think it's pretty obvious that it is an employment issue and it's against the clerk. I think it's
Yeah,
not very employee.
that don't mean nothing then. Just because that's to do with the clerk, it don't mean nothing.
Right.
Mr. Chair, could I ask, is it pertaining to
You're
the
crying on
clerk
that.
or the previous clerk?
sorry, I
Hang
can't hear
on.
you for front.
Huge. So,
May I just ask, please, is it concerning the current clerk, or is this a previous clerk that it's running on? Because it's, I thought all the issues with the previous clerk were sorted out, the complaints or whatever, and it was finalised when I and other people resigned. So just a simple question is, I can understand if it was about the current clerk and sitting there doing it, but considering if it's not that and it's the previous clerk, I don't understand why it's continuing.
it is not the previous clerk.
Okay, thank you, it's on his name. Yeah, that's fine.
You just breached what is just said on the minutes, that you will not disclose the details about the individual. That's what's in private. But you've obviously now identified the individuals to which the complaint is put, and so...
Anyway, is that it? Meeting. Right, we will reconvene the meeting. Happy with that? You good? Yep. So, matters arising. Right, now, receive updates. Now, 5.1 SAM 2 update would normally be given by Councillor Osborne, which obviously can't do, so I will do that one. One machine has been sent away for repair and is currently under repair. And the 2 volunteers who have decided that were initially showing interest in joining have decided against getting involved, so we are still looking for extra people. Right. 5.3 confirm the attending councillor training. Councillor Haken has already undertaken his training course. Councillors Merritt and Snedden received theirs at the end of the month. More training will start in the new financial year. And 5.4 Queen's Jubilee to receive updates, and that's over to you.
Yes, we had our first meeting last week, made up of quite a few people that live in the village. John came as well to represent the church, and members from the parish hall, members of the general public as well. And we've got quite a few ideas for the Sunday and the Friday, which we're investigating. We hope to have like a party on the Sunday. We hope, we're trying at the moment to get some entertainment for the children. And on the Saturday, sorry, not Friday, Saturday we're hoping to have a church service in the church with the kitchen open afterwards, because after all the Queen is the head of the Church of England, so it's appropriate that we have it in the church. As I say, there's lots of things that we're investigating as to how to do. So as I say, we've only just had one meeting, but we're getting together later this month, so by next month I should be able to give a fuller report.
Right, thank you very much. Right, number 6, planning. Applications received, BA stroke 2022 stroke 0012 stroke FUL. Proposed demolition of existing building and surrounding ancillary buildings to be replaced with a new 2-storey property and realignment of existing footpath. Right, this is the Broads Authority one. We have all seen the planning. Do comment?
I think reusing existing space is a good thing. If it's brown belt land, then it's better to use it. I haven't got any other comments. I don't think there's been any comments from members of the public in there.
I haven't seen that. No. Ladies?
I was wondering about the footpath. To realign the footpath, I couldn't work out where.
He's got 2 pieces of land and the footpath runs through the middle. So by joining the 2 together he gets a much larger plot and the footpath will be pushed round the outside.
I did have a few concerns about that, in that obviously the
Mr.
wildlife,
Chairman,
etc.,
I
etc.
can probably clarify some of that for you if you want me to.
No, let's just,
Fair enough.
we'll just follow what we have received, which
Well, I
is...
know what's been agreed.
So what are your concerns?
The footpath.
Just the footpath?
Yeah, the footpath has also been there for a long while already. They would have bought the property knowing that the footpath went through it. It just worries me about, obviously, there could well be some well-established nesting sites, etc. there, which would then have to be disturbed. I know that they were saying something about something about trees as well, but I think I read somewhere. Sorry. It says something about these tree reports or something. It just concerns me a little bit that it seems to be causing disruption to nature when it might not be needed, was my concern. And also, in fairness, whether that type of style does fit in where it is going, because it will still be seen by the footpath, and that just concerns me slightly. It's a much bigger property than what is there already. I know there were concerns about drainage, which I don't think have been answered. So to me, I just have some concerns, which I would rather know what the answers are before saying yes or no.
It's not in keeping with the surroundings.
No, that was my initial thought. It isn't in keeping with the surroundings, and it just worries me about the footpath being moved and whether it will disturb any nature and animals and wildlife, trees, flowers, there's a lot which goes on around there. So, and also, it also did concern me that obviously, yes, they're saying that they want to widen the footpath, but the rest of the footpaths are still going to be quite narrow. Will it join up well, or will it be a bit of a mismatch? And it just concerns me, this one.
Well, my view is very much, it's a very futuristic design, and it's the real antithesis of traditional Broad's building. The relocation of the footprint will make the building much more visible from the Broad, and I think the arbitrary realignment of the footpath is questionable. And my main concern is that this will set a precedent which goes against our village plan, because what was one of the main things in the questionnaire for the village plan was what sort of housing would you like to see in the village, and it was very much against the larger properties, the 4 bedrooms, which is what this one is. So I think this goes totally against our village plan, and it's just not the sort of thing that you really want on the side of a Broad.
Exactly, it will be saying, and I just don't think it fits with anything else which is there at all.
No. So not only is it not acceptable as regards that, but the amount of work up and down the road
It's
while
gonna
they
take
are
substantial
knocking down
hours to
and
do this.
so I propose that we refuse this on those grounds of lack of suitability, size of it and the village plan. But otherwise, what is the point of having the village plan if we don't at least adhere to what a lot of the parishioners have already passed their opinion on? So I propose that. Is there a seconder?
Yes.
Yes?
I am mindful of the fact that it might be someone trying to make a larger. I do appreciate the aesthetics of it is maybe not in keeping traditionally, but I wonder if people are trying to use what's already there, which, you know, the buildings that are there, and try and make a larger home for themselves, like a family home or something, rather than, I think maybe I was sort of thinking houses staying in tradition when there's a development going on. You know, this is a one-off property, but I do take on, you know, what the comments that you've said. I think my focus was probably more on the property rather than the realignment of the, you know, the footpath. I'm in favour of sites being reused, the new sites, and I wouldn't want to discourage existing sites that need to be redone being used over, you know, good fresh sites. So.
Yes, but I mean, turning this down doesn't mean that's the end of the story. It just means we object to the, you know, you can only describe it as a futuristic design.
I think they actually do describe it as
Yeah,
exactly. Somewhere in there.
And it's a relocation of the footprint. The footprint is much larger. Doesn't mean to say that they can't come back with alternatives, because there is a lot of merit in what you say. It's a brown site from that point of view, but I think this is just not.
Sorry to correct what I said, it actually says to deliver a contemporary modern replacement. So they are acknowledging that it's something very different compared to what else is around.
So did you voted in against?
I have proposed that we refuse,
I did, yes.
and citing those reasons why. But if I don't have a seconder, Oh, sorry, Christina seconded. So it's a matter of,
I think they need to go back to the drawing board.
well, if we refuse this, then we'll see what they come up with. So, who's with the proposal?
Yes, I agree.
Yeah,
Okay, I don't, but that's, I can note that down.
yeah, fine. Right, happy with that, yeah? Right, so, now the second one, 06/21/0995/D, which is, as Mr. Brown pointed out, why is it back again? And I'm told that the amendments are of an administrative nature. So really, it's a matter of last time's comments, last month's comments stand. So there is nothing to actually do with that.
Unfortunately, I couldn't go on the portal to see anything at all. It wouldn't let me on it, so the documents weren't working, weren't able to be opened.
Yeah.
I've been trying all day to get them, and I haven't
Yes,
been
I
able to,
noticed that
unfortunately.
that has been noted, hasn't it?
Yeah, unfortunately I can't get to see, so I don't really think I'm in a position to make a decision on it because I haven't seen what the amendments are myself, and
Yeah,
this,
well,
that and the other, unfortunately.
I mean, this is it. I am just going on information received that they are of an administrative nature and nothing has really altered. So, you know, last time's comments still stand. So really there is, you know, we can just leave that one from that point of view. B, planning decisions, none at time of publication. Right, now, correspondence. Now, there's tons and tons of this, but most people will be totally au fait, so I will just do the outline. So, 7-1, email from Norfolk County Council about their temporary traffic order affecting the 1064 Main Road with its junction with the B1152 Main Road for 100 metres northeastwards for new sewer pipes. The road will be temporarily closed except for access from 15th to the 17th of February for the duration of the works, expected to be 3 days. They give alternative routes, which I think everyone has already seen or worked out in their heads which way round they want to go or not go, as the case may be. So I think that's all we need to say, just so noted that one. Right, and 7-2, that's just an email from the Fleggburgh Village Hall that their AGM is to be held on the 16th of February at 7 p.m. Again, noted. Right, finance, number 8. 8.1, to confirm bank statements. Now, we've got a problem with this. The address has been changed from the previous clerk, but the state, I mean, this is just an indictment of the bank's inefficiency, but statements up to the 31st of January still have not arrived. They will be circulated when they do.
Is this with Barclays?
I think this is Lloyd's,
No, because
but there isn't much to choose between.
there isn't, because the village hall had terrible.
I know.
It took months and months to get it sorted out,
Yes.
and it's still not sorted in some aspects.
And 8.2, to approve items for payment in February 22. Now, the clerk has instructed me on this that her salary and expenses for February will be presented in March. So all we've got to worry about is the NPTS counsellor training, which is £45. Do I have a proposer?
And on the course of time.
Well, yes, but we're talking about the one that's already
do it.
I think that's one.
taken place. So this is
Which one is this?
this is the one that Sean done.
Oh, right. Yeah.
So we're talking about not what's to come, but
It's
what has happened.
Right, okay.
Right, so I just need a proposer
Yeah,
for this.
those.
Yep,
Yeah.
right. And, well, I'll second it. Right, now further payments may be approved that are received after publication of the agenda. Right, 8.3, confirm the reissue of 2 cheques that were not received. Now Mr Crook and Clipsby PCC have received new cheques, personally handed to them by Councillor Osborne, and the old ones have been cancelled. Right, neighbourhood development. Right, that's an update, and that of course comes from Councillor Doherty.
Lovely, thank you. So I've got some really good news. We had the examiner's report, and this is just the fact check stage. I was speaking to Nick Fountain from Great Yarmouth Borough Council and Louise from Collective Community Planning, who we work with. And in the report, he does recommend it go to referendum. There's the fact check bit of it is because they just wanted to make sure that what is in the report is factually correct related to the plan. So Louise and I have had a look through, and it's been circulated to councillors. There was only a couple of points in that one of the policies that it was related to, some of the text within it was talking about a different policy. It referenced a different policy, so that's the sort of things that they meant. So I'll be writing back to Nick and just to let him know what I have found, and Louise will do the same. And as a formality, Great Yarmouth Borough Council have asked if we can just acknowledge and accept that they are going to be discussing the report from the examiner at their full council meeting on the 21st of April. And yeah, once that's done, it will then go to the once they've got, it will go to referendum. At the referendum, that is, as Adrian said earlier, that's when Great Yarmouth Borough Council will take over. I mean, they take over now. The changes that have been recommended in the report from the examiner are just relating to, a lot of it is to do with rewording of things, and if things are duplicated, it kind of has stripped it out of all repetition. And none of the policies have changed the purpose or meaning. Yeah, so he recommends we go to referendum. So any of the changes that have been requested will be done by Great Yarmouth Borough Council. We don't get in touch it from here really, and then Great Yarmouth Borough Council will send out ballot papers, isn't it? It's the same as voting, so they'll book the village hall, and they take it really from here. Nick did say to pass on his congratulations to where we have got to with this project, so that's really positive. Yeah,
Can I just congratulate you? I think you've
Oh.
got thanks for this. From originally being a parishioner to now being a councillor, I do think you deserve a lot of praise. I think it should be noted that how much hard work you've done for it. So
Thank you. And yeah, so that's really the update. So hopefully, yeah, it should keep the ball rolling. I did speak to Louise. Obviously, no dates were set, but she was sort of trying to figure out a timeline, and she thought that hopefully it might be by May, the referendum.
If you've got a full council on 21st of April, in the May, beginning of June, you'll have your referendum.
Yeah.
But the good thing now is you've gone through the independent examiner.
Yeah.
And that now, because of that now, that actually now holds plan and weight.
Oh, okay.
So you can quote it, you can use it, and that will hold weight at Yarmouth, and should anyone take an appeal, that'll hold weight in appeal. But hopefully, by the time it's carry on now, there'll be nothing else really coming now until it's finally adopted properly. But you're in a good position now.
Yeah. So so really positive. It's really good.
Yes, you've done well.
Yeah. Yes,
That's it? Yeah.
Oh.
Now we'll get
Oh,
to
yeah.
the writing all right. Right, well, thank you very much for that update. Right, clerk vacancy. Right. Now, vacancy of applicants. Now, we've had the advert on the NAUC website for several months, and we've recently received 2 applications. Now, we need to appoint an interview panel and agree location for interviews to take place. Now, the panel itself will be delegated authority to interview and appoint. So, both of you showed interest originally, as I did.
Yes.
So, I think if you are still wishing to,
Yes.
we can become the interview panel, the subgroup, or the this or whatever.
At the village hall.
Well, yes, I just need agreement that the 3 of us can form this interview.
Do we need to vote?
Pardon?
Do we need to vote? Or is that
No, it was just if everyone is in agreement, then that's okay. Now, the clerk will be in attendance, but only basically to present the clerk's sort of side of it from personal experience, you know, the things that we don't necessarily know that go on behind the scenes, you know, when she's clerking, for want of another way of putting it. And the interview, Wednesday 16th of February at the village hall.
sounds good.
Yes, it's, yeah,
Yes.
right, so we have agreement on all of that, lovely, right.
And
That's
what time?
fine.
No.
I can't remember because we changed it.
9:30.
Yeah, I just remember what the original one was.
16th of February.
Yeah, yes, next week.
at 9 o'clock, was it?
I think it's got to be agreed. I would imagine
I think it has to be agreed.
With the
Yes.
council, yeah,
Contact,
okay.
yeah.
I know they're both on the same, I think they'll both be on the same day.
Yes, they are, yes, I've actually, yes, I've got it written down somewhere here, but yes, I think half an hour between them, and that means, you know, time is not wasted, theirs and ours.
I will have to point out, I actually do have to, my son's got an orthodontist appointment on that day, but I will be able to fit in the interviews before that. I might have to dash off in a couple of minutes if they overrun towards the end, but other than that I'm free. So
Well, this is very early days, I mean, this is just
exactly, yeah,
exploratory,
it does go
etc.
for that day, just
Yeah.
to let you know that there is an orthodontist appointment, unfortunately.
Right, fine. Right, 11. Highways and footpaths. To confirm a meeting that has been set with NCC Highways Engineer Justin LeMay, Kevin Allen, the NCC Project Engineer Network Safety, and NCC Andy Grant, to discuss the foot crossing and other associated items in Fleggburgh. Now, that has been confirmed Wednesday the 23rd of February. Councillor Osborne, Doyle and you, Christine?
Yes.
You have, yes. They will be attending this meeting, but all councillors are welcome if they so desire. All right?
Oh, sorry, who was the daughter? Ricky?
Keith, Ricky and Christine.
What time is this?
I can't.
I've got it on my...
I can't say about the time. Right. Now, 12. Council website. To consider a councillor to have access to the website to assist the clerk. Now, this is primarily to lessen the clerk's workload by dealing with items like updates and news. Now the first thing really to consider here is, do we need a councillor to do this? I mean, there has been one in the past, but that doesn't mean that we need it. Is there anyone who would like to volunteer to do this? Because obviously you need a fair degree of computer skills. Because if we don't have anyone sort of volunteering as such, then Keith has, as he did before, has shown interest in this. And obviously I think from the council's point of view, anything that we can do to help the clerk, as she's still sort of trying to finish off some of the last of the emails that she inherited all those weeks, months ago. So, if I propose...
So I would point out, obviously, I do have my own website for my business. However, unfortunately, at the moment, I just don't think I can fit that in as well. I want to give it my all, and I don't know where I could. So I would be happy to continue if it's needed.
Yes, so would I.
Yeah.
And he's also got experience of doing it. So.
Yes, well, I mean, this is it. I mean, I propose then that Keith becomes the councillor to do that. So if I've got a seconder?
Yes.
Yes? Right. In favour?
Yes.
Yeah.
Keith has said Keith is happy.
Yes, yes, yes.
Well, whilst he's away.
Yes, oh
It's
yes.
okay, Keith, you're doing this.
Yes, well, I mean, this is it, but if there was someone else who...
No,
Keith said he would be happy to do it, because he feels about the clerk's workload the same as I do. So, right. So, Bygone Woods. Now, I will just supply a bit of background on this to keep us up to speed. The actual agenda is consider quotes for works to be carried out on the paddock site. Now, Councillor Haken has produced a draft plan which is presently being studied and revised, which you've all received. As you can appreciate, complex matter, multidisciplinary approach, but the first step is to respond to John Glendenning's original request for financial assistance in clearing the brambles, pruning hedges, etc., on the paddock site. Now, he has said that the estimate for that is £600 to £700. We have we have said, and I'm going back here, that November 17, that we would help him, but been unable to trace what help that actually was.
And is it in writing anywhere?
Well, it is on in the minutes for November 17, but I can't tell you any more than that. We've got 3 quotes which the council have gone for to look at various parts of the whole project, because obviously there is a lot to the project.
And this is just round his feet, that you know.
Yes. I mean, that's why it's quite specific when it says on the paddock clearance. So that's all, you know, which was his original inquiry about would we help him. Now, the first thing we need to do is to determine what the council's situation will be here. For instance, we take his £600 or £700 estimate, and certainly when you compare that to our 3 quotes, which they're about the same if you are looking at several days' work, because they all quote somewhere near the same. It's about £140 a day. Now, if we offer financial assistance, that means we basically go with his estimate, which I think is the CRM Gardening Services. But that is obviously his decision to make, depending upon what we offer as regards finance. So, does anyone have a figure that they would like to put forward for this, or comments just generally?
I mean, we're going back quite a few years now, since November 2017. Was it our clerk that looked up where there was reference to this in those? Did she find the previous minutes?
I honestly can't say.
No. I just wondered if there was any follow-up, because the
May I say something, please? When I became the chairman and the lease was then due again, it was renewed whilst I was the chair, and I think I strongly advise that you should look at the lease and the terms of the lease, because he is meant to look after the land. At one point he asked, I believe when Andrew was the chair, he asked for the land to have fertiliser, and we got to pay for that. It quite clearly states in the lease that it's for him to do. So I think, I'm not being disrespectful, but I strongly suggest you look at it carefully, because you're agreeing to something which is in the lease that he should be looking at himself and have been doing.
I have to say, I was actually just about to say exactly the
I've done a
same
site
thing.
visit there, and he's done a site visit.
Yeah, I was going to say exactly the same thing.
But
It's quite clear
it's
in
a
the
licence,
terms
isn't it? It's
that,
not a lease.
Yeah, I just no.
So-
I mean, that's
It's a
where
license.
Awesome.
that's
Can
where
I interject, throw a bit more light on it?
Yes, please.
In 2017, he asked for some help to clear up some hedge trimmings that had become quite overgrown. The matter was discussed in public. A proposal was put forward that he was given, I think it was £50, for John Throop to go over with a teleport and bucket to have this hedge trimmings thrown into. Not everyone agreed with it, but there was a vote in public, and he was given a small amount of money to help with this bit of hedge cutting at that time. Whether that set a precedent, I don't know. But June's absolutely right. It's up to the lessee to maintain the site.
And it was looked
But
at, it was
I've got
looked
to-
at by a land agent doing it, so, you know.
I've got
it wasn't
Helen to
something-
look at it as well,
Alright.
right?
yeah.
All
So-
the council are committed to there to look after the roadside things.
I I agree.
So in fact, I
And
propose nothing, because
Yes.
it is
Well, I mean, this is it. This is what
I know
the
the
discussion
Yes,
is
as I
about.
say, it's parishioners' money. At
That's
the end of the
right.
day, it is clear there in black and white that it is not the responsibility of the parish council to look after that.
And it sounds like the incident of November 2017 isn't kept over and hasn't been running. It sounds like, you know, as Andrew said, it was voted to give them a hand, and that was done at that time. That's finished. So
It looks as though some of it's been cleared on the main road. When I've driven past there, it's
See, much cleared along there, because I cut it myself
Well, they used to do it for nothing, but they don't anymore.
last time.
inside, I mean.
Oh, inside.
Mm.
Well, I mean, like I say, the main thing is he has asked for help.
No.
What is our response?
Yeah, unfortunately, I'm of the opinion, I'm afraid not, sorry. I
Right.
can't justify spending precious money
No.
for that, so, sorry, you have to.
No.
It's mine.
Well,
I propose, no.
I'll
right.
second that.
Well, I mean, this is it. I mean, if we have a proposer,
Yeah,
not to.
yeah, I'm afraid I don't
Right,
have to propose,
right,
no,
so
because it's
the
really-
proposal is
but-
we will not.
contribute.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. I mean, this will obviously get more complicated further into the project for the whole thing, but that is for the future.
I think it was quite clear when we made the site visit that he's obviously been out now for quite a while and there hasn't been much maintenance
There
carried
hasn't.
out in all that time.
I can't disagree.
Yeah,
No,
so
I mean, we
unfortunately,
were all there, weren't we?
yeah, unfortunately, I just can't, it doesn't sit right with me,
Yeah, well,
I'm afraid.
that's fine. That's your
I mean,
opinion.
even the shelters for the horses didn't look,
Well,
I wouldn't put my horse on.
well, anyway, so that's the proposal. Christine seconded it. So, I must admit, I'm totally ambivalent about the whole thing because as we have studied the
Yeah.
contract,
Mm.
it's quite
Clear
unequivocal.
states, yeah, there's no
And